Welcome to Spectrum News at 4, coming to you live from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital. My name is Ofonono Joseph. Let's take a look at the top stories. Federal government shuts 22 illegal tertiary institutions. Akwa Ibom State government revokes all land allocations from May 2023. Plus, France summons U.S. envoy over anti-Semitism claims. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more in just a moment. Good afternoon. We're glad to have you join us on the news at 4. Our first report at this hour is from the national scene, where the National Commission for Colleges of Education has uncovered and shut down 22 illegal colleges of education. The discovery was made during a crackdown on illegal colleges of education in the country. Recall that President Bola Tinubu had recently urged the National Universities Commission, the National Board for Technical Education, and the National Commission for Colleges of Education to weed out illegal higher institutions of learning in the country. Meanwhile, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, has directed all candidates who uploaded their O-level results before the release of the final 2025 West African Senior School Certificate Examination WASE results to return to accredited centers and re-upload their results. The announcement was released in an official bulletin shared on the board's official X handle today. The examination body explained that all previously uploaded results had been cleared from its system to avoid confusion in the admission process. The board further stressed that failure to comply would affect eligibility for admission consideration in the ongoing process. Back here, the Akwa Ibom State government has revoked all land allocations made between May 29, 2023 and August 25, 2025, including government-acquired lands. In a statement, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Ukoesien Udom, SAN, explained that the action is to enable the revalidation of all land allocations and migration to the new digital Akwa GIS platform. During the transition, all fresh allocations and land transactions are suspended for 1 month, during which period the Directorate of Land shall be shut, while the revalidation exercise will last 2 months to be conducted by the GIS office in the Ministry of Lands and Town Planning. Meanwhile, the government has warned that any land allocation or interest not revalidated within this period will be declared invalid. Meanwhile, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoyeno has approved a reshuffle of portfolios in the State Executive Council in line with his administration's Arise agenda. According to a statement signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Prince Enobong Uwa, the reshuffle affects 2 commissioners. By the directive, Captain Inyobong Ekong, retired, who was previously the Commissioner for Lands and Town Planning, will now serve as the Commissioner for Trade and Investment. On the other hand, Dr. Ubong Iyang, who was in charge of the Ministry of Trade and Investment, has been redeployed to the Ministry of Lands and Town Planning. The statement further noted that the reshuffle takes immediate effect. Still in Akwa Ibom, the Akwa Ibom State Government has announced the disengagement of Udeme Daniel Issa from his position as Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Land Matters. In a letter signed by the Secretary to the State Government, Prince Enobong Uwa, the Governor, Pastor Omoyeno, approved Issa's disengagement with immediate effect. The government, however, appreciated his contributions to the development of the state and wished him success in his future endeavors. The letter further directed him to hand over all official documents and property to the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Lands before vacating the office. Still in Akwa Ibom, in a landmark homecoming event and empowerment drive, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoyeno has disbursed business grants totaling 361 million naira to 844 beneficiaries across Etinan Federal Constituency, comprising Etinan, Nsiribom, and Nsirubiom local government areas. The disbursement took place during the Etinan Nsiribom Federal Constituency Town Square meeting at the Ikoredibong Secretariat, Nsirubiom. The event marked the grand finale of the Governor's Town Square meetings across the 10 federal constituencies of Akwa Ibom State, which commenced in March with Abak Federal Constituency. Speaking during the event, Governor Eno, while expressing gratitude for the unwavering love and support from his people, reaffirmed his determination to deliver fully on the Arise agenda. He announced fresh development directives, including the dualization of the Afao-Fiong-Itrete Road to be expedited by the Ministry of Works, and the construction of a new police station at Ikoredibong, headquarters of Nsirubiom, to be undertaken by the Interministerial Direct Labor Coordinating Committee. On his policy of establishing youth-friendly centers in all the local government areas, the governor urged local council chairmen to each avail him of 1,000 square meters of land for the project, and also harped on the essence of encouraging youths in computer training. Also speaking, stakeholders of the federal constituency through their political leader, Senator Effiong Bob, held that Governor Eno's performance had endeared him to the people of the entire state. On his part, the Okwibomi Bibio and President General of the Supreme Council of Traditional Rulers, His Eminence Ntayin Solomon Etuk, acknowledged that God has used the governor to accomplish much more for the state. He said the huge crowd was a true reflection of the love and confidence of his people in him. Also speaking, the chairman of Nsirubiom local government area, Alfred Charles, on behalf of the 3 chairmen in the constituency, hailed the governor as the pride of Etinan Federal Constituency, assuring that the constituency would stand solidly behind him all the way. Earlier, the secretary to the state government, Enobong Uwa, had described the governor as a compassionate and inclusive leader, as well as the best performing governor in Nigeria, who in just 2 years has earned the love of his people. Government House correspondent Jane Uwa reports that the high point of the event was the symbolic presentation of checks to some of the beneficiaries. We move now to Africa, where South Africa's government has vowed it will not let the U.S. withdrawal of about $427 million in support collapse its HIV program, the largest in the world. Reports say South Africa has more people living with HIV than any other country in the world. According to the report, when U.S. President Donald Trump slashed America's foreign aid budget, the impact was immediate, as free clinics closed their doors, leaving patients without medication. Still in Africa, Libyans in 7 municipalities in the country's northwestern region have finally been allowed to vote on Saturday. They are Zawiya Makaz, Zawiya Wasat, Zawiya Gabs, Zawa Chamo, Zabrata Somen, and Bergam. Recall that polls there were delayed for a week due to security concerns, following an attack on an electoral commission facility in one of the areas. A first phase of voting was held for 58 municipalities last November, while the second session covered 26 municipal councils earlier this month. Although not all municipalities were able to vote, the polls are seen as a crucial step in revitalizing local governance. We move over to the foreign zone, where France says it will summon the U.S. ambassador to Paris, Charles Kushner, over what it says are unacceptable allegations of failing to tackle a surge in anti-Semitism. Kushner, who is Jewish and whose son is married to U.S. President Donald Trump's daughter, Ivanka, made the comments in an open letter to French President Emmanuel Macron. Echoing Israel's criticism of France days earlier, Kushner said there had been an explosion of hatred towards Jews in France since the war in Gaza began. In his letter, the ambassador called on Macron to tone down his criticism of Israel and outlined examples of anti-Semitism which he said had long scarred French life. Still on the foreign scene, at least 20 people were reportedly killed, including 5 journalists, in Israeli airstrikes today on Gaza's Nasser hospital. According to the Palestinian Journalists Syndicate, more than 240 Palestinian journalists have been killed by Israeli forces in Gaza since the war began on October 7, 2023. Gaza Civil Defense Agency said 5 journalists were among at least 20 people killed today when Israeli strikes hit a hospital in the south, with Reuters, the Associated Press, and Al Jazeera mourning their slain contributors. According to reports, hospitals have been overwhelmed by war-wounded and now by increasing numbers of malnourished as parts of Gaza slide into famine. Palestinians are also facing an escalated Israeli offensive into Gaza City, which threatens a greater wave of displacement. Still to come in the news. Arsenal move to sign Hincapie in €60 million deal. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more in a moment. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now we conclude the rest of our news stories. On our business news, the federal government and Japan have moved to strengthen cooperation in the solid mineral sector, with plans to align investment strategies aimed at unlocking Nigeria's vast mineral resources. The initiative followed high-level discussions between Nigeria's Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Dele Alake, and officials of the Japan Organization for Metals and Energy Security, JOGMEC, on the sidelines of the 9th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD-9, in Yokohama. A statement released by the Minister's Special Advisor Kehinde Bamigbeton in Abuja says the meeting focused on attracting Japanese mining firms to participate in Nigeria's mineral exploration and development projects. The minister also assured Japanese mining companies of benefiting from tax holidays and duty waivers on equipment, while urging them to invest in local processing of minerals before export, in line with Nigeria's value addition policy. We're still talking business. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has urged the federal government to ensure that indigenous manufacturers supply fencing materials for the Lagos Airport Parameter Fencing Project, warning against importing clear VU fencing from outside the country. In a statement, MAN commended the federal government's infrastructure initiatives, but stressed that the ongoing procurement for the Muritala Mohammed International Airport perimeter fencing and security surveillance project must reflect President Bola Tinubu's Nigeria First policy. The Director General of MAN, Segun Ajayi Kader, said it has become a matter of national interest for the contractor handling the project to ensure strict adherence to Executive Orders 003 and 005 and the imperatives of President Bola Tinubu's Nigeria First policy. Ajayi Kader maintained that local firms have the capacity and expertise to produce fencing materials that meet international standards, adding that sidelining local manufacturers in favor of imports would undermine government policy and deprive the country of critical benefits such as job creation, foreign exchange savings, increased tax revenues, and a strengthened industrial base. In health, the Nigeria Medical Association, NMA, Federal Capital Territory, has commended its members for their perseverance and urged them to remain steadfast in the face of challenges. NMA FCT Chairman Dr. Emeka Ayogu made the call at a dinner and awards held in Abuja to conclude the chapter's 2025 annual general meeting and scientific conference. Ayogu noted that members of the association had continued to persevere despite disadvantages, particularly regarding their welfare, and encouraged them to sustain their resilience. He explained that the awards were a way of saying thank you for their unrelenting efforts, stressing that the outing demanded enormous energy, time, and mental input before it became a success story. We move now to sports, where Arsenal have received fresh injury boost as Gabriel Jesus steps up recovery from the knee injury he suffered at the start of the year. The 28-year-old underwent ACL surgery after getting injured in Arsenal's FA Cup third-round loss to Manchester United back in January. Since Jesus' surgery, the Gunners have moved in the summer market to add Noni Madueke, Victor Gyökeres, and Eberechi Eze. Jesus is now set to make a return and bolster the attacking options. Still in sports, Arsenal are looking to strike a deal to sign Piero Hincapié from Bayer Leverkusen. Although the Gunners are focusing on departures, they are working to be in a position to act on the left-sided centre-back. Hincapié has 4 years left on his Leverkusen deal and they would like to keep him. Reports say the defender has decided he wants to leave and he has a £52 million release clause in his contract. On our entertainment news, renowned Juju music icon of the 1970s, Ahuja Bello, is dead. His son, Adetunji Bello, confirmed the news in a statement disclosing that the legendary musician died in the early hours of the day, just a day after marking his 83rd birthday. Born Ismaila Dele Bello on August 24, 1942 in Isheyin, Oyo State, Ahuja Bello carved out a name for himself as a celebrated juju singer, guitarist and band leader during the 1970s and 1980s. And that's all we have for you at this time. To ensure to follow us on all our social media handles and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Ofonono Joseph. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Good afternoon and enjoy the rest of your Monday.